Hey nerds, welcome to episode 62 of the Nerd Rundown podcast. This week on the show, Darren and I learn who was created first between Aquaman and Namor the Submariner. We both nerd out on Game of Thrones' greatest TV moments. We get some Ghostbusters, Godzilla, Monsterverse news, and wrapping up the show, we get a banger of a Nerd Box question from Ryan Estes. Ready? Hit it!
Hey nerds, welcome to another episode of the Nerd Rundown podcast, where we cover the latest in the nerd world of movies, TV, and more. I'm your host, Darren Stemple, and with me today only is just my main man, my co-pilot, Erik here.
Greetings and salutations.
You can find us on our social media like Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, all at the Nerd Rundown. While you're there, please hit the like and subscribe button. Turn it from red to gray, and leave a comment. We love interacting with y'all. Thank you for when you do that. It really helps out the show. So you can also listen to us on all of our other major podcast services. Before we get to the rundown, we want to wish everyone a happy Independence Day and live in the land of the free, Erik, because we're the home of the brave.
Amen, brother. Amen.
All right, so let's get to that rundown. And first on the rundown, we get a first look at a really classic Marvel character who will be getting his first MCU appearance in the upcoming Black Panther Wakanda Forever movie. So first look at Namor the Submariner, and a couple details came out with it as well. We have a bit of a new origin story as he may be of more of an Aztecian ancestry.
Mm-hmm. It is,
John McClane?
Yeah, right.
Anyway, so what do you think of Namor's semi-comic accurate costume?
So, question for you. I think it looks cool. I am curious.
Yes.
This guy is not trying to compete with Aquaman. Like Aquaman wasn't around before, and then Marvel's like, hey, we need a guy that's from the water, so put him into a fish outfit and whatever it takes.
I actually don't know who came first,
okay.
Aquaman or Namor. I know that Namor, one of the early 60s comics.
Yeah.
He was there in the early 60s for Marvel. I can look that up real quick. I don't know. Yeah,
I'm just kind of curious. So I think the costume looks pretty cool. It does have some fish scales on it, so that's why it kind of made me think: is this, is this some sort of Aquaman? Because like Aquaman is like the most useless of all the DC. I know there's probably some Aquaman lovers out there, especially with who's playing him in the live action stuff that they've got going right now. But yeah, I was just kind of curious if he was part of the like some sort of competitor to Aquaman or whatever.
This is a great Nerd Box question submitted by Erik Herr.
Yeah, right.
Who came first, Aquaman or Namor?
Yeah.
And I get two different answers on Google. So I get one that is for Namor. It says he was created by artist Paul Norris and writer-editor Mort Weisinger and was first seen in More Fun Comics number 72 in 1941. So technically, Namor is about 3 years 3 years older than Aquaman. The other one says the character Aquaman was introduced in 1941, almost 2 years after Namor. Oh, wait. Yeah. Okay. So Aquaman's copy of Namor.
Oh, well, there we go. All right. I
Shut
stand
the
corrected.
fuck up,
Then,
DC.
yeah, I am wrong. So kudos.
Anyway,
usually get first mover. Usually is the guy who takes it. But apparently Aquaman was the more successful of the Atlantean underwater whatever. So costume looks kind of cool. Like I said, it's got the fish. Looks like fish gills on there and or not fish gills.
Fish
but,
wings
fish
on the ankles.
Yeah.
So it used to help him swim fast. Back in the early days of.
So I mean, just kind of reading the stuff. The plot details are still pretty
very
close
thin
to the chest, and
No, but so Namor has a lot of significance to mutants because he is a mutant. Like he's like one of the first mutants.
Yeah.
So this could be the first appearance of a mutant in Black Panther. He's been around forever. Or not forever, but for a very long time. Like he could be part of the gods that Thor. Maybe we get something about it when we get Thor: Love and Thunder. Maybe a post-credit scene or something.
Yeah.
But massive character finally getting his shot in the MCU. He's got a big tie-in to Fantastic Four as well. He's him and Reed, they butt heads a lot because Sue likes. She likes her seafood.
Hey, you know what? whatever floats your boat, literally and figuratively, whatever floats your boat. So
so she's kind of a we won't put labels on things here at the Nerd Rundown. So next on the rundown. Kind of a follow-up to a story you and I talked about a couple 2-3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Grimm, George R.R. Martin, writer and author of the Game of Thrones books and producer of the
diligently working on that final book.
Just
diligently working
so hard.
Nothing is detracted from his focus on finishing that.
He's so hard. He's so hard at work.
He did take a breath and pop up to give us this soundbite, but he went right back to the keyboard after this.
I do miss his little bits at the end of the episodes in the early seasons of Game of Thrones. But when the after show they would interview him, it was pretty cool. Anyway, so George R.R. Martin confirms the Jon Snow spinoff with a working title of just air quotes here Snow. And he also confirms Kit Harington is developing. So not only is he just starring in, he's helping create the show.
Yeah, that's what I had heard as well. I had read a couple of other articles that said that really this was, I think we alluded to it or mentioned it during our first one, but I think since then, in other interviews and things of that nature, that the level of development that Kit Harington has put into this has been pretty substantial, which to me seems to indicate that he's not done with that character. He doesn't. He probably is unhappy, just like the majority of us were, with how they did him in that last episode, because it was just like all the series was built up. Spoilers if you haven't seen it. All that series was built up to like him.
Don't worry about him.
And then all of a sudden he just
let me spoil it for you.
He just kind of slinks off to the side at the very end of the episode. Well, I'm just gonna go up north and we'll see you later.
D&D were like, got him.
Yeah. But I'm excited. Sleeping with your aunt will do that. Maybe that's just one of those things where it's like, hey, you know what?
Not coming back from that.
Not coming back from that one. So, and the other two, sleeping with your sister. So that's that didn't work out well either. But
not coming back from that either.
Not coming back from that one.
I am excited though. I think for that part of the story of Kit Harington creating it.
Yeah.
just for exactly what you just said. That dude, he played a good part at the end. Like, good on him. He was like, no, this was good. This was good.
Yeah.
But you could tell that it didn't take long for him to kind of be like, yeah, no, that's not what we were thinking. And then there was like behind the scenes stuff that came out where it went on the table read. They were like,
yeah,
like
right,
just WTF all over the place. Anyway, so I think after a bit, he was like, you know what, we got to fix this.
yeah.
Maybe he saw like the absolute fire on Twitter that Game of Thrones became.
Right.
Dumpster fire, I should say. So he had to have gone back and been like, we got to do something about this. Maybe not. Maybe it's just like he wants more Jon Snow, and I don't blame him for that either.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's probably a couple things that are going on there. I think he had hoped that his movie career would take off. He had a couple of feature presentations that I think he was hoping for I think a lot of those kids coming out of that show were hoping that it would launch them into motion picture, stuff. I think a couple of them were like, hey, I'm good. I made a ton of cash off this. I think Maisie Williams, I haven't seen her in much since then. I think she pretty much was just having a good time, and stuff. But, what's her name? That did the Phoenix movie.
Yeah, I was just trying to
Sophia. Yeah, was it
first? Sophie or Sophia or something.
Right.
Sophia Turner.
Sophie Turner, I think is what it. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah, I mean, she had the X-Men movie that she did that flopped. But not because of her. I think her performance was pretty good, and
yeah.
Gosh, if you were going to cast somebody as Phoenix, I think she's a pretty good selection for it. So
she is so damn gorgeous.
She's really beautiful. Damn. So I think a lot of that the Jon Snow stuff. I think, but like you said, I think in the last time we talked was his role in the Eternals. I think he will be the only thing that comes out of the Eternals that is persistent. Like, other than that, or the giant, god that's sticking out of the planet. Like, those are the only two things, and I don't even think that's gonna last. Like, I think they're just gonna be like, that didn't really happen. But his character will.
What happened in this timeline?
Yeah, that's something like that. Yeah.
In this timeline, they died a long time ago.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see.
But... He's and that's another thing. He's gonna be a big character moving forward in the MCU, and there's big plans for him to appear in his own spinoff TV series, Knights of. What are they called? Knights of something, where he teams up with Moon Knight and Daredevil.
Yeah.
Give me that freaking series right now, too,
Yeah.
So it's not like he's was or is necessarily hurting for work. Maybe he just wants to go back and fix this shit.
Yeah, and I think
send it.
Jon Snow was a big reason that series was as successful as it was, and to watch his growth and his development from that first season on through to the end. He really grew as an actor, as a performer. A lot of that first season, really a lot of it lay on the shoulders of Sean Bean, and that was the big attraction to it, was Sean Bean's character. But really,
and then it went to like Robb Stark,
right?
Jamie Lannister,
Jamie Lannister and stuff.
So people didn't really like when he started becoming a prominent character in season 4, really.
Yeah.
And because that's when he had his first huge episode, which was a night, when the wall got attacked by the wildlings. He was already my favorite character by that point. So it's really nice to see the shift towards the, okay, Rob's dead.
Right.
Jumping, I guess it's his turn to be a big character. And
Yeah. Yep.
him and Danny both really ascended. Really, actually, started in season 3 for both of them. Danny with when she got her dragons,
Yeah.
to and the army like that.
Right.
That was in season 3. John in season 3 got the big love story,
Right.
with his now current wife.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. In real life. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was really season 5 and season 6 were Jon Snow season, and when those
Yeah.
seasons were at its best, there was nothing but Battle of the Bastards, Jon Snow episode,
Right.
Hard Home, Jon Snow episode. Top 3 all-time TV moment
Yeah.
is a Jon Snow moment.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, to see them
I could
really
freaking talk about Jon Snow all day.
Yeah, well, going back to that first season, um, really the growth in Danny, Sean Bean, like I said, is the attraction, and then just kind of getting the lay of the land as to who's who and who's doing what. But really, the main character that grows in that first season is Danny. Like
Yeah.
when she goes from being the little sister, that just kind of gets dragged around everywhere and then is used as like a bargaining chip by her brother, to by the end of that thing, you're like, holy smokes, especially that last scene where she comes
Yeah.
out of that smoke and stuff, and you're
Yeah.
like, whoa, that's awesome,
Right.
like
Right.
which really lends stuff to her earlier statement where he was not a real Targaryen, when she says that about his brother or whatever,
Yeah.
but yeah, like, I mean, just wow. I mean, really, really wow. Like Danny's character. And then you're right. It did take John a couple of seasons to really kind of step in there, because I think Rob was supposed to, they of course, a lot of the focus was on
Rob.
Rob and
Rob.
Rob Stock,
Rob.
yep. And all that. So yeah.
Who was awesome.
Oh,
Like,
he's great.
man,
Yeah.
loved Rob Stark.
Yeah.
That the Red Wedding
Yep.
was an all-time TV moment as well. That's what, and it was so tragic because you loved everybody in that
Yeah.
scene.
Yep.
God, Game of Thrones was so freaking good.
I just rewatched a clip the other day. Something popped up on YouTube, and it was a clip of Arya as in the revenge scene, where she's up there, and she tells the girl not to drink the thing or whatever, and oh my gosh, that was just the coolest.
Yeah.
I was like, and that was another one that I felt like just got shortchanged as well on some good stuff, But
think about all the character moments in that show. You just like Arya had at least probably 2 all-time TV moments.
Yeah.
Jamie Lannister had a couple all-time TV moments. Danny, Johnny, Rob, they all have. Like, you think about some of the greatest, like, oh my God, moments in TV.
Yeah.
That's when Game of Thrones was.
Well, like Brienne.
Freaking Pedro Pascal got his start in Game of Thrones.
Yeah, that's right. He was the Viper, right? He was
absolutely
the Viper.
Freaking killer.
Yeah, I mean, and even like, they got tremendous performances out of everybody, top to bottom, no matter who they were in that. The guy who played the Hound was tremendous.
Oh yeah.
Hodor was tremendous. And that
top all-time TV moment.
Yeah,
Hodor.
that hold the door was like, oh my gosh, like when that happened, I was like, oh my Lord, and whether or not that was like really planned from the very beginning, I don't even care. Like, I don't even care, because that was so cool. But this is turning into a. We should probably move on to something.
Well, else, what I'm doing here is.
Oh, I see it. Yep, I see. Yep, we can move on. Yeah, well, then for sure. Because one of the best performances in the entire, and like, you hate her, like everybody hates her, but Cersei,
like, you love her.
Cersei Lannister was delightful. Lena Headey played her so well, like so.
Oh gosh,
well.
she was so good.
She was so good.
good.
Yeah. just a tremendous actress, and
they did turn her into just, her in the window like this with her wine cup.
right.
That's all she did in the last few seasons, which after her kidnapping and walked her shame walk, she wasn't the same character.
She was a show.
That.
Yeah, she was a show.
Although, I mean, other than blowing up half the city. But that
that's
ain't nothing because Danny just blew the entire city up. Anyway, transitioning on the rundown to Lena Headey, who played Cersei Lannister, was actually cut from Thor Love and Thunder and is now being sued by her agency.
Yes.
Can this chick catch a break? She has had a rough go of things. She was almost like bankrupt at the beginning of Game of Thrones, and actually had who's the sellsword for Tyrion? That was such a great Bronn. Bronn. They had a restraining order against each other. Like there's just drama.
Did they really? I didn't know that. That's crazy.
Yeah. They could not film their scenes together.
Interesting. Okay.
This gal can't catch a break. I don't know what her role was in Thor, in the upcoming Thor movie. I didn't even know she was in it. Before this came out. Yeah, right. Yeah, not. And her agency is suing her for it. Like what?
So all right,
makes sense.
Yeah. So my understanding on this one is that her longtime agent, the guy that she's worked with since the very, very beginning of her career, left the agency that he was with and went to go work for this other agency. And so her contract, at least in her mind and everything, she's never signed a contract with this specific talent agency, just that her agent now works for them. So they now believe that they have the right.
I'm more confused.
They have, even though he has now left that.
You need to draw this.
Yeah, right.
What's that Michael Scott mean?
Right, yeah.
Explain this to me like I'm a 5-year-old.
5-year-old, yeah. Okay, explain it to me like I'm a 2-year-old now. So see, what had happened was, so at the very beginning of her career, she was working for. She hired this talent agent, and he was working for a talent agency. He left that agency and went to go work for this other agency, but she never signed a contract with this other agency. She only had a contract with that first one, and really with that talent agent. And so now that guy has since left this other talent agency, and they still believe that they have rights to her and all of her stuff, and they think that because she got a paycheck from that, and then from some other stuff that she's done, they believe that she owes them, money for that. So I don't know. It could be just a shakedown. I mean, they could just be trying to shake her down for some money or whatever, and all that. But she's a tremendous talent. Like she just is.
She'll blow you up though if you mess with her. She'll blow you up.
Well, not only was she Cersei Lannister, she was also the queen of the Spartans, and then she also was Sarah Connor in the Sarah Connor Chronicles. So and then I also
she's a top badass female.
But to top it off the most, she was the baddie in the Dread movie. I think she was in. She played Mama in Urban's. Carl Urban's.
Carl Urban, yeah.
Yeah, Carl Urban's Judge Dredd, and she was wicked, bad in that one. Yeah. Oh my gosh, it was.
She's a baddie in real life.
She's a bad chick, so but she's not only is she super hot, but she's
freaking just gorgeous. She just got those cheekbones,
Yeah.
Anyway, poor girl started GoFundMe for. No, I'm joking.
Yeah, right.
We'll see if that gets figured out, and maybe we'll maybe we'll learn why she got cut from Thor: Love and Thunder someday. Maybe that ties into the future MCU projects that they can't necessarily talk about yet. Who knows?
Right. Yeah, maybe.
I missed that Marvel conversation last week. Great job on the show last week. Both you and Morgan killing it as the host last week on the rundown.
Yeah, he did great. He was really terrific.
Absolutely nails. Shout out to Big Morg, who's sick right now. Yeah.
Bottle sick, probably.
Yeah. But what's coming up at Comic-Con for Marvel? I'm so excited because I think we get some big announcements. They don't make this announcement and they don't make this move back to Comic-Con without there being some massive news to do. I just don't see them going there and being like, here's the Black Panther Wakanda Forever cast that you basically already know,
Yeah.
So maybe we find out, who the next big baddie is. Maybe Selena Headey, since she's the baddie. But anyway, very excited about that. Yeah. Very excited for Thor: Love and Thunder. Cannot wait.
What do you have, like
this upcoming weekend? Yeah, this week.
It's this weekend, yeah.
When you are listening to this podcast, it will be the week of. So, looking forward to that. Speaking of Marvel, something maybe we might get at Marvel Studios Comic-Con presentation is, and then a Doctor Doom announcement. As there is a new rumor out recently. This is a very odd rumor. That there's a Doctor Doom project out there in the works. Not what's weird. What's weird is who's involved. Howard Stern. Now, of course, the internet is ablaze with did Marvel cast him as Doctor Doom? I would literally give up the MCU if they did that, because that is the end of all things of their credibility if they did that. So I don't think they're doing that. Yeah. That would be like, what? So maybe he's, who knows what he's doing in it, but maybe, I don't know how he's involved. I'm really excited to find out how he is involved, because if he is Doctor Doom, that's just unbelievable. And I want to be punched awake. Anyway, Eric, what do you think Howard Stern's doing in the upcoming Doctor Doom project?
I hope nothing.
I'm a little fired up about that.
Yeah,
sorry.
I hope absolutely nothing. But I don't know. Stern's funny. He's got a rabid following, which I think you have to be careful of, if as Marvel and stuff like that, you probably need to be a little careful from that. I wouldn't be surprised if, I could see him being in some sort of cameo role, like they've always had, like they did with Stan, and like that.
They did. They've done a lot of big time celebrities.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Tesla. Musk. Elon Musk was a cameo. They do that. They did Larry Elder.
Right. Yeah, they bring people in from time to time, which is great. I think, and so I have a feeling that that's probably going to be some. Although, of course, keeping Howard Stern under wraps is probably going to be really, really challenging. They typically want everybody to keep quiet, operational security and stuff like that around their content. We all know who the biggest offender is when it comes to spilling the beans about certain things. Young Spider-Man.
Little buddy.
Yeah,
little buddy.
Young Peter
Tom
Parker.
Holland. Little Tommy Holland.
Yeah, so... But so I don't know. I have a feeling it's going to be something like that. However, this does moving past. I actually would really like to just move past.
Move that to the excitement of a Doctor Doom movie.
Well, but I just want to move past the Howard Stern stuff and move into more just Doctor Doom, because
more of that.
I had said something, I think, in the show with Morgan last week about a Doctor Doom, or maybe it was a couple weeks ago. But
it was last week. Yeah, I remember you talking about.
Yeah, so in the Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, we got a confirmation afterwards that there was a Doctor Doom time platform that Reed Richards was involved in, and I had wanted to hear something from you on that, whether you knew anything about that. And so I think that would be pretty cool if they could bring, because Doctor Doom has always been like a super cool villain like that. I mean, just the name by itself, and you know, I mean, if you're Victor Von Doom is you know, a pretty cool name to begin with. But yeah, so,
yeah, it is.
Anyhow, I don't know. What do you know about that? Can you kind of fill us in a little bit?
Yeah. So, I mean, when you say, what do you want to know about that? Do you want to know, like, how do I think he's going to be involved in the MCU?
I was more interested in the Reed Richards Doctor Doom time platform stuff that was in, because you don't really put that into something that other people are gonna you know, kind
talk
of
about.
see, and not
but Marvel does this. They do like to just throw Easter eggs into their movies for the fans. They've been doing that for a long time. I mean, they put the Captain America shield in Iron Man in the background just as like a you know, thing. You know, so they do that sometimes. But yes, that is a Doctor Doom invention, and in that universe, maybe Reed defeated Doctor Doom and stole his technology, and you know, that could always somehow possibly tie into all the multiverse craziness that's going on.
Yeah.
And everybody, you know, that likes to hypothesize this kind of stuff is hypothesizing that the next big Avengers movie, event movie, is going to be Secret Wars, which is, there's two Secret Wars, event Secret Wars. There's Secret Wars from the early 80s, which was a Doctor Doom led, like, he started this and he brought everybody not Doctor Doom brought everybody there, but some god like brought all the characters to this like battle world and made them fight each other, and Doctor Doom kind of like took over and became the leader, blah 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 blah. It was like the first appearance of the black Spider-Man suit, really, if you've ever seen that comic cover. And then there was Secret Wars 2 in 2015, which was more multiversal kind of thing that brought everything together into one timeline moving forward. So like that's when they were able to bring Miles Morales over into the Marvel comics, stuff like that. So
what was the secret?
It was kind of their big reset. Like DC had the big New 52.
What's the secret? I thought the Secret Wars stuff was also the Skrull stuff where.
That's Secret Invasion.
Oh, Secret Invasion. Okay, yep.
Yeah,
because I thought that was still on the.
That's still on the. That's being filmed right now. They're filming that right now. So that's the big Nick Fury show.
Yeah, that's gonna be cool.
The Kree Skrull. Yeah. So that's also happening. So that's like maybe that could be that could have huge implications moving forward. Like that's a monster storyline as well. Yeah. Like it's a bigger storyline than Secret Wars 1 was. Like it's a giant story. Everybody just really liked seeing all of the big Marvel comic guys in one comic issue for Secret Wars. That's why it's so popular. Anyway, very excited about Doctor Doom. That's a big baddie right there. That is a big time baddie to keep the baddie theme going here.
Yeah.
And to give a good transition into the next thing on the rundown, a baddie of a movie, Ghostbusters Afterlife sequel has been announced, Eric, with a release date of December 2023. Yeah. And so they probably are filming that like right now.
Yeah, if not getting started pretty soon. Yeah.
You get started pretty soon. So you excited for Afterlife sequel, and what do you think it will be?
Yeah, I mean, from what I've read so far, we're gonna get. I don't know whether Stan Winston is gonna be kind of leading the charge. I don't know how much we'll get to see of Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, any of that
Yeah.
stuff. So I don't know how much they're going to put in there. Hopefully they kind of hand the reins over to the kids because the kids did really well. But I think the whole thing's moving back to New York City is what it sounds like. So,
Yep.
I don't know whether the kids are going to move there. I don't know where to see more Paul Rudd.
Right.
I'm not quite sure.
Please more Paul.
Yeah, right. Because he was so great. I mean, but it sounds
Don't
like
you have a clip?
I think I do. I think maybe we do have a clip from that. I'll have to see. We might be able to play it during the editing.
Yeah, yeah. I
But
thought
yeah,
there was a clip. Yeah.
uh,
Like,
I thought
but
there
yeah,
was a clip. Yeah.
Morgan said that earlier. So anyhow, but yeah, so Carrie Coon, who I think
Mhm.
was not, she wasn't necessarily the big draw to the
Yeah.
original to the one. Finn Wolfhard, who plays Trevor, her brother, he of Stranger Things fame.
Yeah.
Has really great. And then Paul Rudd, of course, in there. But McKenna Grace, I think McKenna Grace, who's the one that played
People won't
Phoebe,
see more of her. Yeah.
I think she stole that movie. She really
Yeah.
stole that movie. She
was so good.
She was so great in it, and she was so Egon, so very Egon in
Yeah,
that whole
so
thing. And
very
I
Egon,
think
yeah.
it was just really, really tremendous. So her and her
She
buddy
was really good.
podcast, the kid podcast.
Sorry,
that
podcast. Yeah.
I was like,
He
oh,
was
man,
really good too.
he was
Yeah.
so good. Like the two of them
was
were
so good.
They really stole that movie. So again, I think we talked about it a little bit during the Present show last week when we talked about nostalgia done right. And Ghostbusters Afterlife was nostalgia.
Yeah.
Afterlife was nostalgia done right, and so
Yeah.
so I'm hoping that a lot of it is more because they gave us just a smidge of Dan Aykroyd and
Yeah.
Bill
Bill
Murray
Murray.
and Stan and
And
Winston
Winston.
Zedmore. Maybe I may have said Stan Winston earlier, but I meant to say
I-
Winston Zedmore. But sorry.
I heard what you said. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I know he means Winston.
Yeah. So my apologies.
At first, I think I was like, Stan Winston,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
visual effects guy.
I meant to say Winston Zedmore, but Ernie Hudson is just the
Ernie Hudson. Yep.
He's such a good actor. So
Yeah,
but
right.
yeah, so I'm hoping that they make sure that they kind of balance that. But this needs to be primarily the new cast, primarily the kids, and then putting them into New York City is always fun. Putting kids, in New York City, and that ghost stuff is,
Well, it sounds like Winston. So there was a teaser with Winston in it,
right.
and maybe it's Winston or now you got me all messed up.
It's Winston. Yeah, Winston Zedmore. I don't know. I screwed that up. I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay. I said Winston. I was like, wait, is it Winston?
Yeah.
Anyway, maybe it's Winston training these new kids.
Yeah.
Training them up, and that gives Winston more screen time that he didn't may have gotten in.
I think I gotta be completely like to me the one thing that would complete this movie, and I would be like I don't think I'd ever go back to a Ghostbusters movie and be missing anything, is if somehow they pry Rick Moranis out of whatever it is that he's doing and bring him back as Lewis. Like I just please. Rick Moranis, if you're listening, I know you're not because this is it's you probably don't, but please.
If you are, we love you.
Please, like you are an all-time favorite person of mine from My Blue Heaven, Honey I Shrunk the Kids, like I mean, just the Ghostbusters, everything that you've done. I just adore Rick Moranis, and I would love to see them work him in somewhere, like the Annie Potts character was so great in the first couple of movies, and gosh, I just would be that would be super cool if we could get that. So
yeah It would have to be really good though to bring him out. Like
Yeah,
he
yeah,
probably have to, and I wouldn't. I don't want it if it's not going to be the greatest thing of all
yeah,
time. You
yeah.
know,
No, I agree. I
so
agree. Yep.
um, all right, and then also next on the rundown we have details on something we talked about pretty recently. I don't remember exactly when, maybe last month or two,
My son will be
about
thrilled.
the Godzilla MonsterVerse TV series spinoff. Didn't have any details back then, but we do now, and awesome. And this is a two-parter for you, Eric.
Yeah.
We got a Godzilla versus Kong sequel. So two questions. A, why do you hate Godzilla? No, I'm joking. Um, a Godzilla spinoff series. It actually is going to take place right after the Battle of San Francisco, which was in Godzilla King of Monsters, which
Correct. Like
pretty good damn
2011,
movie.
2012, something like that.
Yeah, yeah. So excited to see kind of what that's about. Doesn't Are there gonna be monsters? Who knows? And then the Godzilla versus Kong sequel. What do you think that's gonna be about? So
Well, my son is going to be super excited and a lot of his friends too, because they all love Godzilla, and what kid doesn't like Godzilla, you know, or what boy
but
doesn't love Godzilla, I guess, or whatever. But
male.
yeah, male kid. I like the tie. I like the tie-in to the original because there's a lot of time between those two where things kind of went in motion and all that stuff. Um, I love. Um, I mean, so far what I've seen just from the cast and stuff like that, um, looks pretty interesting. I don't really know anybody on there. They're just kind of talking about some.
I've
Honestly,
seen
the
one guy, like one of those guys, out of the five people.
yeah,
Looks like I've seen him flash in something before.
right, yeah,
Joe Tippett. Here, I'll look him up. Go
yeah.
ahead.
Joe Tippett is really the only one that I've seen. I think I remember seeing anything else, but yeah, I mean, honestly, with all of the in all of these movies, even though they have good characters, because Ken Watanabe, I think is
Oh,
the
he
one
was in
guy.
War of Easttown in the morning show.
Um,
Sorry, go ahead.
no, it's okay. I think Ken Watanabe was in. He played one of the guys in there. Kyle Chandler, Millie
Mm,
Bobby Brown,
yeah,
there's been a lot of good folks. What's the guy who played Charles Dance? I think is his name. The guy who played the Lannister
yeah, yeah,
guy.
yeah. It was
So
Charles
they've
Dance.
had like lots of really good actors in there, but in every instance, uh, it's just bad. Like it's
Right.
everybody just the human parts are just it's just like let's just get to the monsters. Like everybody just wants to get to the monsters. So I like the small screen stuff. I think it'll be interesting to see how that goes. I think we'll probably get a lot more backstory on Monarch and like how that organization kind of
I'm excited for
goes.
that.
Yeah, so I am kind of curious to hear like how that kind of plays out and everything. So, but it's Apple TV, Apple TV Plus, I think, and there's tons of people that want to see more monsters, and you can do a ton of CGI stuff, so that makes it pretty easy
Please,
to
yeah.
do. I am I
Maybe a little expensive.
I am more excited for well, yes and no. So I have a
Oh, that's a
feeling
good question, I guess. Yeah.
I have a feeling that being on the small screen, they're not going to get the big budget like they do in the movies. So
Yeah.
that is going to force them to make the human characters more interesting so that
Likable.
yeah, they're going to have to actually tell a story that is going
Yeah.
to keep people interested, I think, because you're not going to have a big budget to do a monster fight every single, or maybe
True.
maybe you do have a monster of the week type thing and all
Well,
that, but
even then, you gotta still have some likable characters, man.
yeah,
For a TV
exactly.
show,
Yeah. So
for
I
people
think
to
the,
invest
the
in.
the bigger part for me is the fact that we're getting a sequel to Godzilla versus Kong, which was
Yeah.
really that was a I think that how good that movie was surprised a lot of people as to how good and how and it could be because it hit right as the lockdowns were pretty much like right as, I wouldn't say the lockdowns, but things really started to open up there in March and April of 2021. I think a lot of people had finally gotten vaccinated and kind of started to feel like they could get out. So it did a lot better in the theater than I think. It was like the first movie that came out that I think people were like, okay, I'll go back to the theater and watch that. I know it was for me.
Yep.
You know, and my son's so
awesome.
He's like
so awesome.
Halfway through the movie, he goes, Can we go home and finish watching this at the house? And I'm like, no, that's not how,
right.
that's not how movie theaters work. But
I forgot.
But yeah, so we do know we're getting we're getting Adam
keep it down.
Yeah. We do know we're getting Adam Wingard as the director again. So we're getting him, which was great because he's
put in like a Die Hard 2 reference. Now,
he's got to get something in there, some sort of Die Hard 2, because he is the one that put in our Kong jumping off the aircraft carrier like John McClane. So yeah, maybe we'll get some flares. You know,
I was gonna say I got a good sub question. What would be the Die Hard 2 moment? Like, there's so many iconic moments from Die Hard 1, but Die Hard 2, you're like, what?
Die Hard 2 was it wasn't terrible, but it wasn't. Yeah, it's not really our favorite.
No, I love Die Hard movies. Yeah, 1 through 4.
It's like. I don't know. It's like pizza. Like I like all this is I like this pizza. I like this pizza. Like I like all the pizza, but there's some pizza I like way more than I like other pizzas. You know. So, that also goes for. Playboy
I don't know,
Playmates,
but a good day. A good day to Die Hard is like if that's like anchovies.
Well,
there's gonna become some pain with it, you know.
I guess that's probably true. So Adam Wingard, who is the director for the first Godzilla vs. Kong, is going to return.
Back on topic.
We do have a lead actor change, so it sounds like they're moving away from Millie Bobby Brown and maybe that, or maybe she'll be back for, I don't know, but they've got Dan Stevens, who is from Legion. I think a lot of people who are fans of Legion will know him. I know him.
Live action Beast.
He was Beast in the Beauty and the Beast. So, I know him from because I've got little kids, as he was in the Night at the Museum movie. He played the English knight in that one.
Was that the sequel?
It was in the sequel. So what is it? Night at the Museum.
Was he in the first one?
Secret of the Tomb. He was Lancelot. So
okay, so
he's the one who's the wax, and like he starts to melt, and like his nose starts dripping down.
I hate that actually.
So
those movies are so like they should not be that good.
No, they should not. But
and the third one's pretty bad, but the first two are great.
But he was also in
Robin Williams.
The Wife. I'm sure my wife knows him from, and a lot of folks know him from Downton Abbey. He was Matthew Crowley in Downton Abbey. So.
We just pretty much covered every fandom. Everybody should
know. Right. We were hitting it all. We're hitting it all tonight. So
yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited for. I mean, there's no plot details. There's nothing on that. And even it really on both sides, we didn't get much as far as plot is concerned. So we kind of see what that is. But really, I don't care. I just want to see Godzilla and Kong fight each other again, or other monsters,
or team up. They're teaming up
this
time. They got to team up this time.
Yeah, I'm good with it. I'm good with that. So I'm
Godzilla tag teams.
Yeah.
King Kong.
Wait
a minute. Phrasing. Let's fix that phrasing.
Yeah.
Godzilla.
Well, I think that's clean that's fairly clean except for you sickos. Gotta twist everything.
Godzilla tags in. Godzilla tags in King Kong.
Yeah.
There we go. That's much better. For the kids. This one's not for the kids.
Yes.
Click that box on YouTube. Make sure. Next on the rundown, last on the rundown, not a big week for trailers, and this I've got two thoughts on. Hocus Pocus 2. My two thoughts are, man, I really loved Hocus Pocus growing up. My second thought is, F this trash.
Yep.
I don't ever want to see this.
Yes. Yeah, I kind of feel the same way. I did not watch Hocus Pocus as a kid. My first introduction to Hocus Pocus was when I started dating my wife, and she watched it every her and my
It wasn't
stepdaughter.
like long ago.
Yeah, her and my stepdaughter watched it like every Halloween, and so that was the first time I'd ever seen Hocus Pocus. Was I think 10, 12
That's
years
incredible.
ago or something like that, and
So
I
you
loved
were
it.
the
Sarah
one.
Jessica Parker was great. Bette Midler was great. It was, the kids were fun. It's a fun movie. It's a fun movie, and this trailer just looks forced. It looks like everything is
Oh my
forced in
God.
here, and
Everything. Except for Bette Midler. Like she looks like she's ready to be there
oh
for
yeah,
the
she's
stage.
all
Look
in that
at
because I don't
me,
think she's
Bette
had a
Midler.
paying gig in 25 years, has she? So
Yes. And I gotta tell you, I had a giant crush on Sarah Jessica Parker growing up because of Hocus Pocus.
oh really?
Yeah,
It's funny.
uh,
I just
she was there in the early days.
I just the kids and I just watched Flight of the Navigator the other day.
Yeah,
Old Disney
dang.
movie, and Sarah Jessica Parker is in that. She plays a very kind of a small role, but somewhat pivotal in the
Is that
story.
early '90s? I think
No, mid 80s. It was like
mid '80s.
1985, 86, something like that. So
Yeah, wow, that old. Okay.
yeah.
So yeah, that was her, and now this is her. This is how it started, and this is how it's
Yeah,
going.
right.
So with that, we're gonna move on to the nerd box. We got a great nerd box question tonight.
Yeah.
Might have to set some parameters on this one.
Gosh, man. Yeah.
No sports. You can't get rid of Chiefs fans, okay?
Yeah.
As much as I'd like to. Um, man, one of my brothers, guy I served with, Ryan Estes, also a guy I served with who I never hung out with. But definitely missed out on that one. If I would have known he was such a giant nerd, he definitely could have been watching Smallville with us, eating chicken fried rice on Thursday nights. But Ryan Estes on 4th of July again. Thank you for your service here,
Yep.
my man. He writes in, and he's been with us since the beginning. So first time, long time, long time, first time.
Yeah.
For Ryan
Long time
Estes.
listener, first time. Yeah.
So he says, what fandom do you wish you could erase from the earth? And what fandom would you defend to the end? So Erik, you made a very big statement when you read that Nerdbox question
Yeah.
today. So I'll start with you, as I'm very excited to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, but yeah, my response to that was holy shit. That is a loaded nerd box question. Like that one
Yeah.
is really this one is actually was really really hard. Like it's hard to just arbitrarily dismiss any fandom out there, because there's usually you try and look at and think there's some sort of like redeeming redeeming quality to some sort of community or whatever, but I don't know, like
I feel like you're going way more philosophical than I did.
yeah, well, no, I don't. I really haven't, because I really couldn't come up with any fandom that I really would like to just like wipe off the face of the earth. Like I really just couldn't do that.
Okay, instead of wiping the people, how about you wipe?
No, I'm not wiping the people, but like their
fandom
whole
fandom.
like reason for why they get up in the morning. It's fine.
Yeah, you're not Thanos here.
Right. I don't know.
Or
Like,
are you, Eric?
I mean, like the one where it says where you would defend it to the end, which is going to be interesting because we're going to be talking about, I think next week we're going to talk about Star Wars.
Yeah.
I will defend Star Wars fandom to the end, even though I hate it right now. Like I absolutely hate it. Like just a lot of stuff that they've got going on.
Huh.
But if I could erase one, I don't know, man. Gosh, I know this. I'm kind of.
I had trouble, and then I thought of one. I was like, "That's it. I've got it."
What's the one you've got? Like,
I would erase Zack Snyder fans
I could see that. Yeah, I could see that.
fandom. I mean,
Yeah,
that's it's their fandom. They are a vile group. They will bomb movies, not literally, but uh, through the internet. They'll review bomb. Thank you, mind for blocking that for a second. They'll review bomb. They've review bombed a ton of DC movies because they weren't necessarily Snyderverse movies.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, uh, this year at the Oscars is so dumb. I mean, of course the Academy screwed this up and how they did it, but greatest moment in cinema. Guess what won? The Flash running, because Snyder fans could vote as many times, like once per day, and they created like millions of new accounts just to vote multiple times.
Yeah.
And it's like, what? They just will, anything not Snyder related is trash to them. It is very black and white to them. And they are vile. Now, they did a thing. They got the Snyderverse movie done, and that was an improvement on the original, but not worth it to have that kind of vile fandom that's so black and white.
I guess now that I think about it, there is one fandom that I would like to erase from the earth. And I don't know that it's necessarily fans or just. It's people who drive BMWs. Like, what is it with
they're
the
not like
signals?
Carrie here, you say that.
Like, what is it with the turn signals? Like, do they just not work? Like, from the factory, do they just not work? Or, I mean, and do you have to be a douche to own? Like, do you have to have, like, a card that, anyhow, like, BMWs,
I mean,
like, that's where I'm going.
This is all very fair for the most part.
Yeah.
Don't let Carrie hear you say that.
Well,
I'll tell her at next time you guys get together.
Yeah. I don't have any problem with it. I don't have any problem. I guess if that's one I could erase this. But it's a toss up.
I get it.
BMW and Porsche people, like both those.
Whoa! Oh my gosh, I'm a Porsche. I love Porsches.
Yeah, I know. Sorry.
You're gonna take that away from me. You're gonna take that away from me.
Sorry.
Take the BMW route.
But you don't own a Porsche yet. That's the difference.
But will I ever be able to own a Porsche if you do this?
Just don't change, buddy. Just don't change who you are. Okay? Don't change who you are.
I would defend the Cyclops is the leader and best character of the X-Men fandom to the end.
Yeah.
That is the fandom I would defend, because Wolverine can take his adamantium claws and shove them up his own ass.
I gotta say, like, I did pick Star Wars, but because
I know I thought about big ones like
because
that.
everybody already knows that I'm the only one that defends Star Trek on the show already, so I don't really feel like I need to.
I would never get rid of Star Trek.
Yeah.
I love you guys too much for it.
Yeah. But yeah, Star Wars right now is, and actually, that could be the answer for both sides to that question. Like, I really could go, what fandom do you wish you could erase from the earth? And I go, Star Wars. And then you say, and what fandom would you defend at the end? Star Wars. I could literally do both those for the same thing and not be contradictory. I could not contradict myself. Because there are elements inside the Star Wars fandom that I'm like, oh God, like people are just killing me, And
then, there's a small percentage that are Jar Jar fans.
Come on.
Not gonna miss those guys.
We can't do this.
And it's a great question that really ties into the central theme of our show. One that I actually thought kind of tied into last week's Nerd Box question as well. What kind of nerd are you? And we're all a nerd in our own way. So I was listening to you and Morg talking about your dads, and Morg's like, yeah, my dad's a nerd. It's like, you know what, buddy? We're all a nerd in our own way.
Yeah.
He may be a nerd about mowing lawns.
I love to mow my grass. Like, it's
I love to mow my grass. Yeah, exactly. There is that fandom out there.
Yeah.
And so we all have a nerd in us about something. And there's some things that I myself, I nerd out about. And I nerd out about anything about Cyclops. And I know I'm in a minority. Usually this is something maybe you'd be in a minority about in the fandom. And that's why you have to always defend it. Because I know I'm in the minority about Wolverine being a pussy ass bitch, So,
well, my neighbor kid. So Jackson got this aircraft carrier, and I think I told this story about the little aircraft carrier that he's got, and that he was in the garage listening to the Top Gun stuff, and so he's got all these airplanes, and the neighbor kid comes over. And he's like, what kind of airplane is that? And I go, it's a B-52. And he goes, what kind of airplane is that? And I said, it's F4U Corsair. And he says, what kind of airplane is that? And I go, that was like a P-40 Warhawk, And I'm like, I'm just rattling all this. He finally stops. He looks at me. How do you know all these planes? And I go, I don't know. I just do. Like, I'm a nerd for this stuff. Like, I've been a nerd for airplanes since I can remember.
You kind of have like an airplane nerd look about you right now.
Thank you. All right. Appreciate that.
I love it. It's like these are like the airplane nerd shirt. There you go.
I feel like I'm the guy that's gonna fly you from the one island to the other island in the Bahamas. It's like, hey, don't look in the very back because there's probably 2 keys of Coke.
Don't need to buckle.
Don't. Yeah. I don't ever worry about that stuff. Do you remember that weather? Nah, it's fine. We'll be all right.
It's just gonna be a little bumpy.
Yeah.
You maybe that that's what I keep thinking to myself. I gotta find a nickname for Erik. And I don't know. Maybe that's where I gotta start looking, is in like pilot names. So anyway, what kind of nerd are you? We're all a nerd in our own way, and that really has just that statement. Those words have always meant a lot to me because I love being a nerd, and I want everybody to want, or I want everybody to love being a nerd too.
Yep.
And so you all nerd out about something. What is it? Tell me.
Yep.
Tell us. We want to know. So, Erik.
I one last bit.
You got something?
Today is July 3rd, 2022. And the actor that we love, Mr. Tom Cruise, turned 60 years old today. So,
oh dang, dude!
60 years old. He got a nice shout out from his buddy
Iceman
on Twitter. But yeah, Happy
man.
birthday to Mr. Tom Cruise. Thank you so much.
What a way to end this show.
Yeah, thank you so much.
From one pilot to another, right?
Yeah, right. From one pretend pilot to another pretend pilot. Although you actually are a pilot, so never mind.
He actually can fly.
Yeah, he actually can fly. So, but yeah.
Man, I can't wait to watch this show again.
Yeah, happy.
Great job this week.
Happy birthday, Tom Cruise.
Happy birthday, Tom Cruise. Oh man, just like I said last week in the review, walked into that with the little video. I was like, oh, thanks, Tom. But
Yeah,
walking out, I'm like, yeah, thanks, Tom.
Thanks,
Like that was
Tom.
freaking amazing. So
God
yes,
bless
thank
you.
you, Tom. We salute you, Tom Cruise. Can't wait to see the Mission Impossible series.
Yeah.
Well, Eric, we're gonna skip the presents this week. 4th of July holiday break as everybody else is on PTO as well. We wish you all a happy 4th. Please have fun. Please be safe out there. And again, thank you to every man, woman who has ever served and is serving. You guys,
Yep.
This is why we get to do this show, because of people like you. So we love you. Love you, Eric.
Thanks, brother.
Miss you,
Love
man.
Yep.
Shout out to Libby Donahue. And with that being said, we'll see you all next week on the Nerd Rundown.